as the third tutorial for the puzzle box project. Here we are in Pixel Editor. I'm just going to give you a preview of what we're going to do, and then I'm going to slowly talk you through the different stages of doing that. So what we're going to do is design a cover for our puzzle box. For this cover I've put a monster on my cover, and then I've put a psychedelic background behind him, and then around the edges where I've got the labels of the boxes I've put some colour in, and then onto the colour I've put some labels, and you'll probably want to do a lot more labelling as you work through your project. Maybe put some barcodes on, some little labels about the age appropriateness of the puzzle, that sort of thing. But anyway, let's get started. The first thing we're going to need to do is find the first image that goes on our puzzle box. For me, it was the monster shape, so I just went to image search, and my search was monster cartoon. Now you might see that I've got my tools bar switched on here, and I've come down the size and I've chosen larger than 2 megapixels. Now you need to do that to get a high resolution image. If it's set to any size, you might end up with something like this guy here, who's 220 by 220 pixels, so he's very small. And when you put him on the puzzle box and print him out, he's going to end up really pixelated and look quite shabby. So go to your tools and change your size to larger than 2 megapixels. Scan down, find your image. I think I've got him a little bit bigger. Here he is. See here, he's 4,500 by 3,000, so that's a really large image. And then I'm going to view the image. It's important that you do go to view image so that you get them at high resolution, and then you can 2-finger click to save the image as. I'm going to call him a cartoon monster. He's my second one, so I'll just label him up like that. So back to my Pixel Editor, and I'm going to open a new image, and here he is. Now I'm going to select all of this image, so I'm going to do that by going Command A, and then I'm going to cut them out, Command X, and what's going on here? I'm going to close that, and then I'm going to paste them into this image here. And you can see he's far too big for this, which is good. It means that he's going to end up as a high resolution image. I want to now make him smaller. Now the long way to do this is to go down Edit, Free Transform, and go and click on that. I'm going to use the Control T, the shortcut. These are the same shortcuts as you'd use in Photoshop. So I've clicked on Control T, and now I'm going to drag the corner of the box. Now you can see as you drag him, he gets distorted unless you hold down the Shift key, which I'm doing now, and that holds the correct proportion. So I'm holding down the Shift key. I'm just going to get him sitting in the middle here, about the right size. When it's the correct size, press Enter just to lock that transformation down. The next thing I want to do is get rid of all the coloured background so that he's just on a clear background. We cut the background out. So choose this, the selection, the wand tool here. Now if I click at the moment, it's going to make all this area fuzzy around the outside. Before I go ahead and go any further, I just want to show you a couple of little settings you can use here. I'm just going to click Control D to deselect that. And I change the tolerance here. If I change that to 20, when I highlight, see it's highlighted less. Control D again, and if I change it to 90, when I click, it's highlighted more. It's highlighted quite a lot. I'm thinking 90 might almost be too much, so let's just play around with that tolerance there until we get something that's about right. I quite like that. I'm just going to hold down the shift button and click down in here to make sure that see, this is too much selection, so let's Control D and try again. Change my tolerance. That's looking better. Now if I press delete, it's deleted out all the background. I can go to Control D again, and there he is sitting cleanly on the page. If we zoom in here, we might be able to erase some of this shadow. Now the way to do that is to select the zoom tool and zoom in. Try not to use your keypad to zoom, because that can be a bit tricky. If I want to move them, I can take the hand and just drag them up. If I need to zoom out, I can hold down the shift key and see how the arrow changes to minus for zoom out. And up here I'm going to pick up my eraser. And if I start erasing now, I can just sneak in there and tidy a bit of that up. You may be interested to change the type of brush you've got. So you can go to a bigger or smaller or a different shaped brush when you start to erase. Obviously that one's not much good to us, but you can see how it works. Now you can spend as much time as you want to getting that looking really tidy around the edges. Now I guess I should have talked about the type of image that you're using. Remember, this puzzle is going to be for children who are 5 or 6 years old, so you want to make sure your image is age appropriate and something that the little kids are going to be interested in. So I've got the picture of our monster down, and now we want to put our background picture in. So I've already got my image here. And again, you can see I've got a really high resolution image, so click on this one, view the image. And then again, 2-finger click and save that image as, I'll call it background 002. Open that up again. Again, I highlight everything by going Control A, copy it, Control C. Oh, let's actually cut it out, Control X. And then we're going to close that drawing. We don't need to save it. And we're going to paste them in here, Control V. Just you may be able to use the command keys, but I find that it's better to use the control ones when you're working in your browser like this. Now I know that doesn't look ideal at the moment, but let's just bear with me. Let's transform them, Control T to make it the correct size, holding down the shift key as we drag. I know it's blocking out the monster, but I'm not too worried about that. I'm going to show you how to fix that in a minute. Okay, so there's a little bit out up here and a little bit down here that I want to chop out, so that looks correct. I'm going to press enter to lock it down. Now I'm going to view my layer tool, and this is where I can turn that layer off and bring my monster back. And I can turn my monster off too, actually. At least leave them there for now. What I need to do is crop this image, so delete around the outside of it so that it's nice and neat on the top of the puzzle box. I'm just going to untick that for now. Let me come to the select tool here, carefully hover in this corner, and drag my box to the correct shape. And then I'm going to click on the picture to bring it back up. And now under Edit, I've got the invert selection tool. I'm just going to click that. See how it's inverted the outside of the image? And I'm going to press delete. Deselect, Command D, and then I can, the monster's still hiding there, so I'm just going to pick him up and drag him up a layer. And that looks pretty good. Happy with that. Now I want to put the orange colour in the background, so I'm going to create a new layer. I'm going to click here on the new layer tool, and I'm just going to use the paintbrush to drop the orange in there. You can see I've already got the orange, but you can come in here and play around with whatever colour you might like to use for your background. And I'm going to drop the orange in. Again, he's in the wrong place, so just drag that layer down to there. And the last part of this tutorial is to show you how to do the text. So I'm going to click on the text tool, and then I'm going to click up here where I want to type. Now, you'll probably find that the settings on this are a little different when you first open it up. So, you can label it whatever you want to call it. Remember, it needs to be catchy for these Year 1 students. Oh, and the colour at the moment is orange, that's why I can't see it. So, actually, it could be quite cool to try and get some of that purple. See how when I hover over there, it goes, the eyedropper comes out, so we can sample that colour. There it is there. That's, how about, try and get, no, I think we'll go back to the white. It'll be fine. So that's okay. There's our white colour. You can see the text has come up. We can change our style. I think we had something like chalk duster. There we go. And that was size 88. Okay. Now you should be able to move that around and get it in the right place. Now we want to duplicate that, and at the moment it's actually upside down because when this becomes the lid of the box, this is going to be the part that's closest to the floor or to the tabletop, so we need to turn that text upside down. The way to do that is to scroll here to our text that we've been working on. I'm going to two-finger click on that, and it's given me the option to rasterize the layer. It's going to turn the text into an image. Now that layer's been rasterized, it still looks the same, but it is actually an image. You can see up here it's changed into an image rather than being a text file. And now we can go back to our transform, Command T, and you see that as you hover out here, you can either change the size or you can rotate it. So I'm going to drag it around and turn it upside down. Press Enter to lock that in. And now we need to do that one more time, so we're just going to copy it all, Command A, Command C, and paste, Command V, and then we'll drag that into the correct position and rotate it around. And return to lock that in. Right, well that's enough skills to get you started. You know how to bring in an image and how to crop around the outside of it. Or use the wand tool to select around the outside. You know how to bring in a background image and put that on the correct layer in the correct order. You know how to drop in solid colour, and you also know how to put text. So those should be the basic skills for the design of your box. Okay, thank you for listening.